Did you hear what Caitlin Clark just did? She's leaving the WNBA. That's right. The rookie sensation, who brought in record-breaking crowds and viewership, is stepping away from the league. But why would the most popular player in WNBA history walk away after just one season? The answer might shock you.
She's just not built for the physicality of this league.
You might be thinking, no way, this can't be real. But trust me, it is. Caitlin Clark, the face of women's basketball, is saying goodbye to the WNBA after just 1 year. Can you believe it? This isn't just some small news. It's a bombshell that's shaking up the entire sport.
It's a bigger issue going on. And when this happened, and that girl, Kennedy Carter, pushed her in the back like that, it was a cheap shot. It was not a basketball play. She should have been ejected, number one. Number two, there should have been a fine that was incurred thereafter. Number three, not to say that there won't be, or hasn't been at this moment in time, I don't know of one.
Now, you're probably wondering what could make her leave so soon. Well, get ready, because the reason behind her exit is more shocking than you think. And here's where it gets really interesting. This decision could change women's basketball forever. Are you ready to find out why? Let's break down this game-changing move and what it means for the future of the WNBA.
What I am upset about is like, hey man, your meal ticket is under constant attack. There's been dirty plays all season.
You might think Caitlin Clark had it all in the WNBA star power, adoring fans and game-changing talent. But what if her rookie year was more like running a gauntlet? The truth about her first season might make you see her exit in a whole new light.
They brought a level of intensity and physicality that the Fever weren't ready for. But damn it, in the first 2 minutes of this game, this Dejanay Carrington stabbed Caitlin Clark with her fingernails right in the eye. There was no foul call. There was no real discussion of it on the ESPN broadcast.
Let's talk about what really went down during Clark's rookie season. It wasn't all highlight reels and standing ovations. In fact, it was more like a brutal obstacle course. Remember that eye poke incident? It left Clark temporarily blind. Can you imagine stepping onto the court, unable to see? That's the kind of challenge she was facing.
She struggled with physical defense she's faced at the professional level and voiced frustration with the league's officiating, recently telling reporters, quote, "I feel like I'm getting hammered and everybody is physical with me, and opponents get away with things that other people don't get away with."
But it didn't stop there. Clark was getting hammered out there. Game after game. We're talking shoulder hits, constant fouls, and physical attacks that would make even the toughest players wins. And here's the kicker. Most of it went uncalled by the refs. It's like they had blinders on when it came to protecting the league's new star.
My issue and my question is, where the fuck are her teammates at? Where y'all at? Where the rest of the Indiana Fever at? I've seen a couple girls smirk when she's got knocked down, half-assed to pick her up. Like, y'all supposed to protect the asset, protect the star. And all this is the team, she's the star. You always protect your star. I was someone who protected the stars. You fuck with Kobe, CP, Blake, list goes on. It's going to be a problem because you guys are supposed to be a family.
You might be thinking surely her teammates had her back, right? Well, that's where things get even more complicated. Clark found herself in a tough spot, trying to carry her team, while feeling like she was playing against more than just the opposing team.
They keep bringing up the ridiculous, idiotic, and tired old notion of racism. Asia Wilson, who bitch, whined, and moaned, and continues to bitch, whine, and moan, that Caitlin Clark is only popular because she's white, couldn't be more far off. Hey, look, we love Steph Curry.
And the criticism. It was relentless. We're not just talking about tough love from coaches or constructive feedback. No, this was next-level stuff. Some people even had the audacity to claim that Clark's popularity was all about her race, not her incredible skills on the court. Can you believe that the emotional toll of constantly being under attack, both on and off the court, was immense?
Tell a reporters, quote, "I feel like I'm getting hammered and everybody is physical with me, and opponents get away with things that other people don't get away with."
Clark's frustration finally boiled over when she said, "I feel like I'm getting hammered and everybody is physical with me, and opponents get away with things that other people don't get away with." But that was just the tip of the iceberg when it came to her problems.
Breaks the WNBA rookie assist record in a win over the Storm. She already held the record for the most assists in a single game, which is 19, which she set the final game before the All-Star. And now she's in the record book once again with her third assist today. She set a new single mark set by a rookie. Clark passed Tisha Pinachero, who had 225 with the Sacramento Monarchs in 1998. Before y'all say the WNBA season was shorter, Pinachero set the record in 30 games. Clark broke the record in 28 games.
Think about it. You're the most talked about rookie in WNBA history. You're breaking records left and right. But every time you step on the court, it feels like you're walking into a war zone. The physical toll is one thing, but the mental strain, that's a whole different ball game.
The media thing doesn't, envelop her like they've done to this kid. This kid doesn't deserve all this. Nobody deserves all this.
After a gut-wrenching playoff loss, Clark had a moment of realization. All her hard work, all the hours in the gym, all the plays she'd perfected, it wasn't enough to secure success for her team. That's the kind of moment that makes you question.
Too far down the line. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to do the next day.
So when you hear about Clark leaving the WNBA, don't just think about the stats or the highlight reels. Think about the bruises, the frustration, and the constant battle she faced every single day. It wasn't just about playing basketball anymore. It was about surviving in a league that seemed determined to test her limits at every turn.
In its proper perspective, when I think about Caitlin Clark, the operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude. There's an incredible level of gratitude that should be accorded to this young lady with what she did for the sport.
Now, you might be thinking, if things were so tough, how did Clark become the F of the WNBA? Well, that's where this story takes an unexpected turn. Clark's impact on the league was nothing short of revolutionary, but it came at a cost. Let's talk numbers for a second.
Some of the numbers here. When we talk about league attendance, the Indiana Fever, all right, with Caitlin Clark, led the league in attendance both home and on the road. They averaged 17,035 at home, 15,000 on the road. Attendance for the entire league up nearly 50% this year, according to data from across the timeline. And Indiana leads all teams with an average attendance of, like I said, of 17,035. Merchandise sales are up.
Clark didn't just play basketball. She transformed the entire WNBA landscape. Per jersey became the top seller in league history. Can you believe that a rookie out selling every other player in the WNBA, and the fans, they couldn't get enough of her? Clark single-handedly transformed the Fever's attendance from 3,000 to 15,000 fans per game. That's 5 times more people showing up just to see her plays.
Certainly she's going to be a great player. I think we see that. We see the capability on the basketball court. She can shoot, she can handle, she certainly can pass, okay?
But here's where things get really interesting. While Clark was breaking records off the court, she was fighting an uphill battle on it. Remember, that playoff game, Clark put up an incredible 29 points, 10 assists and 7 rebounds. She was on fire. But her teammates, they were ice cold. Key players like Tammy Fagany and Kelsey Mitchell just couldn't find their rhythm. It was like Clark was playing a one-woman game out there.
But her final season at Iowa was something to behold, and she went right from that into the WNBA season. I mean, right away. As soon as her college season ended, just days later, she was drafted by the Indiana Fever. And I just remember being at the Combine in early March. That was the talk of the town. In addition to what we were seeing out of the Pacers and the Combine being there, it's like Caitlin Clark's coming here, the Big Ten tournament going down in Indianapolis.
And that's been the story of her season. Clark shining bright while her team struggled to keep up. It's like watching a star trying to light up the whole sky by itself. You've got to wonder, how long can one player carry an entire team?
I don't think it affected me. Honestly, I felt like I got good shots. They just didn't go down, and obviously a tough time for that to happen. I got some really good looks. I felt I had three pretty wide open threes in the first half that you usually make. So that's tough, but I felt like I battled and tried my best. Took care of the ball better than I usually do, which is a positive. But overall, Coach said in the locker room, we were down 3 the first quarter, down 5 second quarter, and then lost by 3 in the third. We were right there, and I felt like we just played a crappy game.
You might be thinking, with all this success, why would Clark even think about leaving? Well, that's where things get complicated. See, Clark's individual brilliance wasn't enough to secure success for her team. And in basketball, team success is everything. Imagine being the best player on the court every single night, but still walking away with losses that's got to take a toll on you, right?
The professional level and voiced frustration with the league's officiating, recently telling reporters, quote, "I feel like I'm getting hammered and everybody is physical with me, and opponents get away with things that other people don't get away with."
And here's the kicker. Even with all the records, all the fans, all the jersey sales, it wasn't enough to keep her in the league. Clark's frustration finally boiled over when she said, "I feel like I'm getting hammered and everybody is physical with me. And opponents get away with things that other people don't get away with." That's not just a complaint. That's a cry for help from the league's brightest star.
What is the rest of the season going to look like, ratings-wise, for the WNBA? Are people still going to care? That is the question on everybody's mind, because when you look at the numbers with Caitlin Clark there,
Clark's bombshell exit isn't just leaving fans shocked, it's sending shockwaves through the entire WNBA. But here's the real question. Can the league survive without its golden goose? The answer might surprise you.
Caitlin Clark's story, just in the merchandise sold, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Let's face it, Caitlin Clark wasn't just a player. She was a phenomenon. Her jersey sales alone were off the chart, breaking records left and right. And those attendance numbers, she turned the Fevers home. Games from ghost towns to sold-out events. But now that she's gone, the WNBA is staring down a potential financial night.
Merchandise up 450%. And now she's out of the playoffs. What a gift for the WNBA and for ESPN for that matter. But now what happens? I'm really intrigued because there's a league with players that feel like they should be getting the attention. Now they have center stage, but the ratings are going to go down. How far, though? That's the key.
Think about it. All those fans who showed up just to see Clark play, they might not come back. Those record-breaking jersey sales, they're going to plummet. And let's not even get started on the TV ratings. Clark was must-see TV. And without her, the league could be facing a serious viewership crisis.
and we've talked about it a lot, Caitlin Clark is just such a class act. She held her head high despite being embroiled in so many different controversies throughout the entire course of the season. I mean, we saw dirty play after dirty play on Caitlin Clark, and still, she did not waver in keeping her composure, and that is something as a 22-year-old.
But it's not just about the money. Clark's departure is raising some serious questions about how the WNBA treats its players. Remember when she said she felt like she was getting hammered on the court? That's not just a star player complaining. That's a wake-up call if the league's big star feels unsafe and unsupported. What does that say? About the experience of other players?
$76,000 is not enough for someone you are looking to be the face of the league going forward.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Clark's decision to play in Europe isn't just about her. It's a wake-up call for the entire WNBA. And it might just force the changes players have been demanding for years. We're talking about better pay, improved working conditions, and maybe even a complete overhaul of how the league operates.
But there are different level of stardom. And what I mean by that is not necessarily talent or name or anything like that. I just mean the generations are different, right? And so what made you popular may not be the same as what makes other people popular. And in this day and age, the use of social media and people's social media presence and how they have inundated themselves in the culture makes them a little different kind of star.
Now, you might be thinking, is this the end of the WNBA? Not so fast. This crisis could actually be the kick in the pants the league needs. Think about it. When your biggest star walks away, you can't just ignore the problems anymore. The WNBA is going to have to take a long, hard look at itself and make some serious changes if it wants to survive.
I mean, Caitlin, I just say put more marketing dollars and push behind some of the great players in the WNBA so that you can sustain this. And all of the focus, if you're saying Caitlin, and as Caitlin game is not where you thought it was going to be, you still have all these great players that you can push. No, that's what I say.
But here's the thing, it's not just about survival. This could be the WNBA's chance to become better than ever. Imagine a league where players feel safe, supported, and fairly compensated. A league that attracts and keeps top talent, instead of watching them walk away. That's the kind of league that could take women's basketball to new heights.
Okay, I want to see some cattiness. Okay, I need entertainment. I'd literally rather watch.
So what's next for the WNBA? Well, they're at a crossroads. They can either stick their heads in the sand and pretend everything's fine, or they can use this as a catalyst for real meaningful change. The ball's in their court now, and their next move could determine the future of women's basketball.
I can guarantee you next year, if Paige Beckers drops a stinker, she's going to get some of the most abuse online. I can guarantee you if Juju Watkins drops a stinker, she's going to get abuse online. It's just unfortunate. It's extremely unfortunate. But the WNBA has got to prep these players. They've got to prep these players on social media, because if it turns out that it's not going to stop. So what's the next best thing you can do when you can't actually stop it? Is putting the players in a position that they have to deal with it as little as possible, so that this stuff is never going to not be there. You got to make sure the players have the right resources so that they don't see it. Like, it's not going to go away, and that's just it's horrible to say this, but it's not. The WNBA needs to put in measures, and I stand by this. The WNBA needs to put in measures.
Caitlin Clark's exit isn't just about one player. Leaving, it's a wake-up call for the entire WNBA. Think about it. The league's biggest star felt unsafe and unsupported. That's not just a problem for Clark. It's a problem for every player in the league.
The league has to be ready with its infrastructure. The league has to be ready with its tech. The league has to be ready with its vision. Think bigger.
Yes.
I'm saying think bigger.
But here's where it gets interesting. This crisis could be exactly what the WNBA needs to make some real changes better, pay improved working conditions, and maybe even a complete overhaul of how the league operates. It's not just about survival anymore. It's about creating a league where players feel valued and protected,
if you want women to make money, you need the girl that makes the ratings happen.
That's right.
To be, give her the Jordan rules. Give Angel the Jordan rules too.
Yep.
Whoever they're watching, give them the Jordan rules.
I said that last night. I was like, yo, the WNBA got to learn how to rig shit.
Facts.
Because
what's the guy's
Caitlin's
name?
not in the playoffs now.
They need a David Stern.
Right. God bless the dead. Caitlin's not in the playoffs right now. Angel Reese's not in the playoffs right now. Asia Wilson is the best player in the WNBA. The Liberty Aces series is going to be great. But it's like Caitlin and Angel was bringing a lot of eyeballs to the table.
Caitlin in the finals, bro.
I need and I wonder.
Rig it.
I wonder if the ratings are going to take a little plummet.
Of course they're going to. What do you mean wonder? Of course they're going to. Listen, we want to watch Caitlin. Rig it.
I hope this is the highest WNBA playoffs ever. If it's not, we know why. There's no Caitlin Clark. There's no Angel Reese. Now, I feel like Asia, I feel like this has been a breakout year for Asia, which sounds crazy to say because she's a 3-time MVP. She's won the championship 2 times. She's Defensive Player of the Year. She's won all of these different awards. She's very well decorated. But I feel like as a star, this has been a real breakout year for her. Because of the eyeballs that the Caitlins and the Angels bought, but now they're looking like, but that girl right there is really
rising tide.
Lift all boats. That's right. Well, it's not the finals yet. They're going to the second round, but the Liberty and the Aces are going to be in the second round of the WNBA finals. But I'm just saying, if the ratings take a lot of dive.
So, what's next? The ball's in the WNBA's court. Now, will they step up and make the changes needed to keep their stars? Or will more players follow Clark's lead? What do you think needs to change in the WNBA? Let us know in the comments below.